Here we go. So guys, today I'm going to talk about the 250K qualifiers that happened last weekend. Now, I've never done the 250K qualifiers before. I'm not an amazing player at this game. I don't think I'm average anymore. I'll admit that. Okay, I think I'm maybe above average now, but yeah, I'm not amazing. So with the 250K qualifiers, I didn't really have any plan on playing in them or attempting it. But really, I just jumped in just out of curiosity, and I literally made that decision about 5 seconds before they happened. And I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm just going to give you my opinion on the tournament itself, how I got on, and really, I think the biggest thing is some of the backlash afterwards. As always, guys, please like and subscribe. We hit 600 yesterday, we're already barreling towards 700. It is legit crazy right now what's going on. You can see the team I'm running, it's a high overall. I'm running a high 10-man in the tournament. I know a lot of people run 5-man and things like that, but I really wanted to just test myself, see how I could get on with this team. I've got a really strong starting 5 and a really strong bench as well. I think the lowest tier card in my lineup is Diamond Zion. So, yeah, I decided just at the last second, we talk about 250K a lot on the podcast, and, I played for a bit, and you'll see how that played out. And then I kind of went online and I was watching other YouTubers try and qualify, and looking at Twitter as well. And there were some strong takeaways. Like, I think I learned a lot about this tournament, what it really means to people, and maybe the fact that it actually needs to change. Because I think, for me, the reaction to the tournament from sort of the community suggested that there's really big flaws in how this tournament is carried. But before we get into kind of my opinions on all of that, let's see how I got on in the qualifiers. So in the first game, I felt like I settled into a rhythm quite quickly. As you can see, we were playing good defense throughout at the start. I felt quite early in this game that, my opponent was struggling to kind of find a way through. And, I definitely felt our defense had leveled up during this game. And we just got off to a really good start. It became quickly evident to me that, the people that play in these qualifiers are not a joke. This guy didn't even have the best squad. He didn't start particularly well, but he definitely got into the game and was forcing us to mix it up. He was playing really good defense. It felt very quickly like, this is not your standard unlimited run. That this is a higher level of gameplay, and we had to step it up to really make sure that we got this win. So as the game went on, we started to pull away a little bit, and for the first time on 250K, I learnt the word stalling. I didn't even know what this word meant. And what it means is someone basically not quitting the game when they feel like they're down, or they feel like there's no point of return. I personally feel like this guy's still in this game. And if you watch the game that comes after this, you'll see a good example of why being down by 15 points or so doesn't mean you should kind of quit out of a game. It's still competitive. You see there, he hit a 3, greened it as well. So this match is still very much on, but we're in a really good position. So a couple of minutes later, we really started to pull away, to be honest. We hit a great cut there with Jack Marin. Team's playing really well, and, the guys basically decided after this defensive play, there's a good block there, we cut through. McHale, gets bailed, let's be honest, he does get bailed there, but my opponent decides at the end of the game. And as I said, this is supposed to be some sort of etiquette with 250K because of the format of it. If you're really down, you're supposed to quit the game. I don't feel like that's the case. I don't feel like anyone should feel the need to do that. And like I said, I'm going to touch on this stuff later. But that was a good win. It was a good confidence boost. Like I said, I didn't come into this going, really, I wasn't expecting to win any games. But we came out strong. We got 140 points. I literally have no idea if that's good. We were ranked 65 after that first game. I guess getting an early rage quit will kind of put you higher in the rankings straight away. But then, things went differently in the next game. But I just think it's a really interesting game to look at, considering, I don't know, some of the questions and the drama and all of this stuff that kind of surrounded this qualifier once it ended. And like I said, I'm going to get into all of that stuff. But let's have a look at the second game. It did not go according to plan, for sure. So as with the last game, we actually did get off to quite a good start in this game, but I played this guy many times on Unlimited, and I know how good he is. He's beaten me many, many times. I think it was a tough game to get in the second game, but, we came out strong. You can see we're hitting our threes, but you'll see in a second, he's doing the same. And looking back on the game, I needed to make some defensive adjustments at this point in the game. And I think, had I done that, I think this game might have gone differently. So I learned a lot from this tournament about, how I should approach this game and, mistakes that I made and things like that. You can see he plays some great defense there, but we get bailed. But it was a big learning curve. We then basically had a run of like the perfect storm of Algo and me just not playing very well. I just want to show you this possession really quickly. Like, I would say that's probably a contested shot. If you go back and actually pause that frame, I mean, Barry Davis had his hand in his face as he took that shot. A few of those were going in, but equally, like, I just wasn't playing well offensively. I was missing open looks. You know, I made that shot for sure, but there's a lot of shots that I missed. There was a lot of wide open threes that I just didn't knock down. And, you know, that's on me. Like, all the algo in the world is not going to, you know, make up for the fact that I'm missing wide open shots. I just need to green them. I need to get better at the game. But you'll see over time, he starts to really pull away in this game. You know, we started to play a lot worse. And, you know, we just weren't picking our shots very well. We were making bad decisions. He had us flustered because his defense is really good. You can see there, not the best decision. Even that pass wasn't a great decision. And you can see he's just kind of got us clamped up here. And he gets a steal. And this is how the game went for the next few minutes, really, to be honest. So skipping ahead a bit further here, you can see just how badly we were playing at this point in the game. You can see here, we just give up a steal for no reason. If you look at the scoreboard, he's about to double our points with that possession. And he's really on fire here now. Like, he's not missing a shot. I don't think he'd missed a shot at this point in the game, maybe one or two. And we just weren't playing well enough to keep up with him. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the argument here is I should quit. That I've lost this game, there's no way I'm going to come back. This game is over. That's the kind of courtesy that's built into 250K, that I should let this guy carry on with his run. I should step aside gracefully and give him the win. Again, stalling was something I wasn't even aware of until after I'd actually played in the qualifiers. So I didn't know what stalling was at this point. I didn't know about that kind of courtesy. But I also feel like, you know, I'm within my rights to stay in this game. It's in the second quarter. I've come back from deficits like this before, you know, been 20 points down and won a game. I'm sure all of us have. So through a combination of kind of ignorance and not really knowing the kind of the traditions and like the fact that you're supposed to quit, and the fact that I actually felt like I could still come back and win this game if I could figure him out. You know, certainly it's probably too late because the damage had been done. But I wanted to keep playing, like, and I felt like I was within my rights to do that. You let me know what you think. But you know, this is stuff I learned after the qualifiers. Now, if I'm being entirely honest, it was this point in the game where I started to get frustrated as we're getting good looks. Okay, we're not greening shots, but we're getting good looks there. You'll see again on the next possession. This was just happening repeatedly with this guy. You can see we pop out here. We do get over and contest. Now, I feel like that's a contest, but either way, he's still hitting shots. And again, he's not missing. He is greening like fairly often, but nearly 100% of his full whites are going in. And that's very tough to play against. But there was a moment of realization I had at this point where I was getting frustrated, and it kind of dawned on me, hang on a minute, this guy is getting bailed, and surely at some point that's going to switch. So I kind of stuck in the game. You can see there again, we contest the shot. And now we're suddenly, you know, the momentum's starting to switch. I feel like maybe we can go on a run, and you'll see exactly what happens. It was at this point in the game where I really changed my kind of direction. I started playing sort of more aggressive on-ball defense, which you'll see in a second. We get a steal there. And suddenly, like, the game does definitely feel like it's shifting. Now, I am kind of aware there's a huge deficit. You know, we were down by 19 at the half. That's a big gap to come back from, and he's still amazing at the game. Algo, everything aside, he's still really good at the game. But you can just see we're starting to play a lot more on-ball defense. We're starting to cause problems. Again, it's contested and it goes in. So I was getting frustrated, but I still felt like this game was winnable at this point. This was a big moment in this game because it was really the first time that he didn't hit sort of a contested full white. It was the first time, honestly, I mean, we're deep in the third here, that he didn't hit that shot. So I felt maybe the algo had switched. That's what I really felt at this point. So I really went after it, and you know, I was trying to pull this guy back in. We were down by 19, we're now down by 13, which isn't huge. You know, it's not a big difference, but if he's missing open shots, and you can see the on-ball pressure we're putting on him now, it really felt like the game was starting to move. He gets an amazing like highlight reel block there, but it did feel like the game was starting to move. It felt like it, you know, he wasn't kind of getting bailed in the way he was, and now we were actually playing a sort of skill versus skill game. It was much less about the algorithm built into it. So he hits an amazing shot there. So going back to my offensive video that I released last week, I realised that I just wasn't mixing up my offense enough. That corner seemed to be sitting open quite a lot, and a lot of time I was forcing it, and he was contesting it. So I kind of mixed it up a little bit. I'd come inside before I kicked out instead of just looking for that open look and giving him an opportunity to block it. Now, late in the third, I'm still down by 17, which is almost an impossible position to come back from. But at this stage in the game, I felt like we were outplaying our opponent. I really did. Like, it felt to me like everything that had happened at the start of the game, we just went on a really bad run early in the game. And a large part of that was down to me not getting my settings right, me not getting my strategy right. Like, it was just, I just left him open way too often early in the game. But at this point in the game, I felt like we could reel him in, and I genuinely, 17 points down, I did not feel like this game was over. We knocked down the corner 3, which brought the game to 14, which is the closest it had been, probably since the middle of the second quarter. And there's still time to go. There's still time to go. And you can see here, he is having a tough time getting shots off. Really frustrating that he got bailed at that point in the game. We really could have done without that. So after that 3-point bailout, I remember telling myself that I need to hit a 3, otherwise I probably should quit out of this game. And we greened a shot with D-Wade right at the end of the quarter, which again reduced the game to 14. As long as he didn't put anything up here, we played good defense. Now it's a 14-point game in one quarter. Now, you can see there, he kind of gives me a nod that was a good quarter. Either that or he's insulting me. I never know, to be honest. I never have any idea what a pause means, but I think he said well played. The game was definitely heating up. It was definitely getting closer, and the kind of 20-point blowout was, way in the past. So starting the fourth quarter, again, momentum's on our side. I look for a cut there, it doesn't work. D-Wade is wide open, and we knock down a shot in the corner. So at this stage, we're now down to an 11-point game. Again, this is by far the closest it's been probably since the game started. At this point in the game, you can see it's a 12-point gap. We haven't got it to a 10-point game at any point, really, since he kind of took over. But we do close it to a 10-point game with 2.5 minutes to go. So again, it's a long shot to come back from this, but we're definitely fighting our way back into this game. My opponent at this stage is clearly flustered. I'm putting a lot of on-ball pressure on him, and as you can see there, we get a good stop. It's still a 10-point game. We get a bucket here, and we're less than a 10-point game. We're in single digits in terms of the difference. It's just really important we hit a shot. He's still playing great defense throughout this whole game, by the way, but he does leave Mikhail open there for a second, and we do pop the shot and knock it down. So now it's an 8-point game. Now, at this point in the game, we've got our sort of settings right, we've got our strategy right. You can see here, we really have him in a box. Just look at our rotations, definitely the best they were throughout the whole game. We're making sure no one is open throughout the entire game because we cannot afford to give up another bucket. So you can see he's kicking the ball around, but we're rotating really well. We're making sure that he just doesn't have an open look. He takes a bad shot, and that rebound killed us. For me, that was like game over. Giving up that rebound, we went straight back. They're playing really good defense again, not giving him an open look. He's had 2 possessions now. There's 4 seconds left on the clock. We're really putting him under pressure. He steps back and he misses a shot. So if we played like this all game, I think we probably would have won. The simple truth is we didn't play like that all game. And, we did put up a lot of bad shots. You can see us coming through here. We probably should have pulled that, I'm going to be honest. But you can see we're almost trying to force a guaranteed bucket here, which is not a good idea. And again, just a horrible animation, which knocks us out of bounds. So I think that kind of 30 seconds just sealed the game. We played really good defense. A player runs out of bounds. They're getting offensive rebounds. There's nothing we can do about that. There's absolutely nothing we can do about that. So I felt like at this point, to be honest, the game was over. We're still down by 8. That one possession there, we maybe could have got down by 5 and maybe could have come back and won it. But those kind of moments were really the dagger for me, and there was no coming back. So I kept fighting till the end, and as you can see, we're down by 10 with a couple of minutes to go. We have an open look with T-Mac, we knock it down. So it ultimately becomes a 7-point game at this stage. I mean, over the last 2 quarters, we just chipped away at his lead slowly, and we played better defense as we went. We played better offense as we went. But we just gave up the game in like the first 2 quarters. And if we played better in those quarters, I think we could have taken this game. But ultimately, I'm going to be really honest with you, it didn't matter to me. I was doing this for fun. And I actually, even though I lost this game, and even though it could have gone the other way, I think 2 things. One, when you don't play well, you have to kind of accept that that's a big contributor to why you didn't win a game. And for the first half, I just didn't play well. So I can't be angry about that. That's the first thing. Second of all, I just wanted to kind of experience the qualifier and understand the mechanics of it and things like that. And I had a lot of fun just playing the game, to be honest. It was nice not playing unlimited, where, if a loss happens, it's the end of the world because you might lose your Galaxy Opal run or whatever. So it was actually just a lot of fun just to load into a game, play some sort of competitive online gameplay and not really have anything on the line, because I didn't. I'm not expecting to qualify. There's people that are just ridiculous at this game. But I had fun. So reflecting on my kind of 2 games, really proud that I got a rage quit the first time. And in the second game, I was really proud of the way that we came back and the way that we adjusted. to that kind of the fact that we were getting run over. I've been playing my team for a year, so I thought it was like pretty much to the day, by the way. I've been playing my team for basically a year. I thought it'd be a great time to just try the qualifiers. It was the last one, and I'm really glad I did. And I hope, by next year, maybe I get a little bit better, and maybe I can have a bit of a better run. Maybe I can win 3 or 4 games in a qualifier. So once I was done sort of playing in the tournament, I then went online to kind of look at what other people were doing, and I was watching DBG stream, and he made a last-minute push. Cheap plug here, DBG was on the podcast on Sunday. Go check that out if you haven't. But I watched what other people were doing. But the big thing for me is I went online, I went on Twitter, and there was an absolute minefield of like drama going on Twitter because of this tournament. And there was 2 kind of prominent things, right? One was stalling, the idea that if someone's down by a certain amount of points, they should quit. I don't know if you feel the same way, but looking at the last game I played, I mean, should I have quit when I was down by 20? I don't think so. I don't think this game works that way, that you just decide when it ends. And the second thing was these kind of baseless accusations of qualifiers using modded controllers and things like that. From what I could see, there was absolutely no evidence of that. The kind of takeaway that I got from that is this obviously means a lot to people, and I think when you kind of base yourself as like an elite player and you're exceptional at this game, 250k is it's just something you have to qualify for. And if you don't, like, I could see the mood in the community when there was people who expected to qualify who didn't. There's people who didn't expect to qualify and did. And it became a lot of the people that expected to qualify kind of tearing down the people that did. And there's 2 problems here. Like I said, there's the stalling and there's the modded controllers. Let's be really clear here. Even if those things did happen, that's not the responsibility of anyone who's playing the game. I loaded in there, like I said, I was down by a lot and I nearly came back and took the game. If you consider that stalling, then the problem is the format of the tournament, right? Like, stalling shouldn't be a reason. Finishing a game should not be a reason someone doesn't qualify for the tournament. So I partly agree with the concept, because you have this 4-hour window and you've got to win as many games as you can. So if you're up by 50 and someone stays in the game, that could cost you your run, but that's not that person's fault. Because I didn't even know the customs. I didn't know the traditions. I didn't know I was supposed to quit. So someone who's doing this for the first time that isn't really bothered about the game, isn't sort of online and checking out all the sort of customs and traditions, they're not going to know that. So the problem lays with the format, right? The format shouldn't allow it, so 250k needs to change. Now, the second thing is like the modded controllers. First of all, I think the accusations that were leveled at this guy were baseless. I don't think it was right, to be honest. I'm going to be like, I don't really get involved in drama. I literally looked for any proof that this guy was using a Zen, and there was none. But there was a general consensus that he was. So either, he was, and, these guys have just figured it out without any evidence, or it's kind of a compliment to the guy for being that good at the game and greening so many shots. But either way, again, it's not really that person's responsibility. If he wasn't using a Zen, which, the proof suggests that he wasn't, and people are accusing him of it, and people see that as an exploit and a way to get through to 250k, again, that's 2k's problem. That's not our problem. If that exploit exists and someone did use it, it shouldn't be allowed to exist. It's just as simple as that. So the kind of point I'm getting to here is this clearly means a lot to a lot of people. There was a ridiculous amount of drama, probably the most drama I've seen, straight after, playing a game. I've just never seen that kind of drama online before with 250k. I think the format needs to change. I don't know what it is. We're going to discuss it on the podcast this weekend, but the format definitely needs to change. It just seems flawed and it just seems geared towards controversy, which is not what you want. And ultimately, I think the reality is, someone who is elite at this game, it's not enough. It's not enough in their control. Like, it's not entirely in their control, but it's not even close to being enough. Like I said, if they just can't play enough games and that's a reason for them not to qualify, the format is flawed. It just is. Anyway, that's my opinion, guys. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm looking forward to next year. I'll probably have another go at one of the qualifiers. We've got Bio on the podcast on Sunday. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you don't miss that. Drop a like, drop a sub, get the notifications on so you catch the podcast as soon as it drops. Thank you for all your support, guys. You guys are absolutely killing it. Until next time, thanks for watching.